afternoon. We are happy that you are here with our training this afternoon. We are the Research Integrity Office, and with me is Mr. Kiogile Musala, Ms. Tandu Madaka, and my name is Tanya Kutsia. We are all from the Research Integrity Office in the Directorate of Research Support, UNISA. Since 2022, we have moved our research ethics forms online. We used to have 4 generic forms in a manual format. Form 1, which was for human participants. Form 2, that was mainly for secondary data analysis research. Form 3, that was used for non-human, non-animal research ethics applications. And Form 4, which was used for progress reports and amendment. We also had colleges, for example, CHAOS, CHS and CEDU, that made use of their own forms. Ever since 2021 and 2022, we have adapted all these forms into a main online application form. Now, we have looked at the definition for our management system, and we came up with this one, which will now be part of our SOPs. It is just to give a little bit of structure to the form, but it is a cloud-based digital platform that we look at applications where we apply for applications, the supervisor sign off on applications, the ethics committee receive the applications, and there are certain decisions made from the research ethics committees. So the users then on our system, the RM systems or the RE system as we have been using it since we developed the system, are then the applicants, which includes the supervisors and the collaborators, the college administrators. They are those people that receive the research ethics applications, the chairperson, the rec reviewers that's assigned on the specific committee, and the executive team. They are all the users partaking on this ethics online system. So we've configured the main application form into certain parts. It is built on a cascading dependency structure. So what you select in the beginning filters through to the end. The main application form is an integrated application form. So if you're a postgraduate student, you have to indicate in what capacity that you are applying. And those sections that then will need information will open up. Or if you are an external researcher, those applicable sections will open up and you apply them online. Everyone has to indicate in what capacity they are applying. So if you are a postgraduate student, but you're also working at UNISA, it will be a postgraduate student that you will select, not a researcher. Researchers is, for example, when you are doing a non-degree study, institutional research, or any of those research that you are not doing to obtain a higher degree. The researchers, supervisors, and collaborators all have to register. So the system works then to you select a person from a database. You don't have to retype your supervisor or your own information in the form. There are 3 questions that you have to retype because we took out some of the identifiable fields in the search function due to our requirements for PPR. So you have to select yourself after you register to work on the system. You select your supervisor and you select your collaborator. The form is interactive, so you can actually share your form to anybody else that's registered on the system, and I will show you in the live demonstration. As part of the main application form, you always also have to provide your project information. That is then the dates and the duration of your project from start to finish, your title, as well as information on a summary of your objectives, your aim, the benefits of the study, and so forth. And then you select your type of research. Now, I have said this before, we have collapsed all the forms that we used in a manual format into the main application form. So the previous form 1, that was the human participant form, is also now in this form. Secondary data analysis is hosted here. We have the non-human, non-animal studies is when you going to do any study that's not involving any humans or animals, or just working in a laboratory. You use previous form 3, which is then an exclusive form. So what I mean with exclusive, all the forms you can use together. But if you, for example, select the non-human, non-animal studies, this is regarded as a negligible risk so that it can move quicker through the review system. You can't now, for example, also mark human participant or secondary data because this will then raise your risk and then it's not negligible. So you can select human participant, and even after your supervisor now indicated that maybe you need to consider to triangulate your findings and maybe add interviews or maybe add the secondary data analysis, you can come back to your form, just click that section, and the other sections that you need to complete will open up. In the previous manual days, you will have to complete a whole new application form or an additional application form. The CHAOS Animal Studies, Biomedical Sciences, Plant Research, and GMOs were also incorporated into the main application form. So you as a researcher can now actually pick or select any of these forms and all of them as well. And I will show you how it looks. Now, the main application form is set up in this format. It stays the same. When you start off developing this information on the form, this is how the form looks. When you finalize your form and you send it to your supervisor for signing off, this is how the form looks. When the Research Ethics Committee opened the form for review, this is how the form looks. You can go into certain sections. All the sections are blue. So for the sake of this picture, we have selected all types of research. The only ones that's now gray out is the class application and the conceptual or non-human animal research section, because in this section, as I've mentioned, this is an exclusive section. If you're only going to go for this, you will, for example, have all the other fields dark and conceptual will be highlighted. So this is the main application form and how it looks. The Research Ethics Online system is a unique system setup. So we are hosting all the Research Ethics Committee currently at UNISA on this system. There are 44 Research Ethics Committees currently working on this system. Each committee has their own unique setup. The system allows that there is no loss of applications. For example, that when you email something to your ethics committee, it gets lost. It is a complete system from start to finish, and it will show the history of the project and all the other actions on the system. So if anything is happening with your study application in the review process, this is recorded. It will enable then the colleges to do a digital review of the system, which then means that review time is reduced because the system is smart and it works fast. Now reviewers can do comments, to do the review report, and that review report are going back to the college administrator to enable them to set up the meeting. Review time of applications are depending on the college. Colleges have their own processes, they are independent, and their processes are normally advertised or published on the intranet of the college page. So please visit your specific college to see are there specific deadlines for research ethics applications or are they not. Now, normally, we work in a month cycle. We have monthly meetings. Most of the research ethics committees at UNISA have monthly meetings, which means If you submit your application now, a day after my meeting, that application will go into the reviews of the committee for the next month, but you won't get your result within the next 2 weeks. You will get your result and your outcome only after that meeting. So this is now the only thing that we don't always can guide you is how long will you wait? It depends on your specific college committee. Then the digital sign off, the chairperson and the executive team do a digital sign off of the certificates. This is set up, but they still have to do it on their side as a human sitting there and finalizing the certificate by digitally approve this. All of these digital sign-offs are recorded on the system. Something else that this system does that is quite unique and nice is that it can set up alerts. So when you receive your ethics certificate in the health sciences, for example, you will get or receive approval of your ethics, and it will be for 1 year only. An alert is then set up to remind you when your progress report are due so that you can finalize your progress and amendment report if there are amendments. This is also a sub-form based on the main application form that you can select when you do your progress report. This is all digital. Supervisors are copied in all email going to the applicants after the decisions are taken by the ER3 or the chairpersons. And these includes the approval certificates, conditional approval certificates, and referred back letters. Now, we have gone into great lengths to give and provide you with an applicant manual. The applicant manual is step by step exactly what you need to do, how to register, how to create a project, how to share a project, how to transfer a project. What is important here is that this is a cloud to cloud based application form. So you cannot, for example, sign on with your MyUnisa or your UNISA credentials. You have to register on this system. This is a unique system made only for UNISA. You can see this as a little island on its own. So you have to register with your email address, your valid email address. Please use your MyLife email address and your UNISA email address. If you are a supervisor registering on the system and you don't have a UNISA email address, you can use whatever email address you prefer. The students work with you. But you have to register and you will receive a validation email to that registration email that you registered. And you have to validate this, and then the page will open up for you and you will be able to go to your work area. The applicant manual will then show you on the following content as listed, how to register and log in. How does your work area look? We talk about the work area on the platform, how you can create your project and fill in the questions that's on the application form. What the completeness check is all about. The completeness check is your friend, and you can start off by setting up a project and just to get the feel of what's asked, what is being asked, and then by just clicking on completeness check, you can see what you still need to add. The system is unique that it can also, you can, for example, start off with a project and then transfer this project to another user, and this person, by accepting the project, can make the project its own. Then sharing of the project with collaborators or with your supervisor or with co-researchers is an excellent tool. You provide your project then with sharing rights. You share it to anybody registered on the system. When you share, you provide that person with certain rights, like you share writing or reading rights to that person. So just be careful with your sharing of these rights, because you need to know how to share. So just make sure that you don't share, for example, that this person can also share the project or can submit the project if that is not your intention. You digitally sign off on the declaration and the application, and then you submit your application to your supervisor for sign off. This is all digitally. So say, for example, that you have initially shared your form with your supervisor. That's fine and that's cool, that's allowed. It will give your supervisor some co-creating rights to your application. But once you are ready and you need to, let me just say this, when you work on the application in a sharing responsibility, you and the person that you shared your project with works in a live format. So what I type in here and save, Mr. Mosala can immediately read it and add to it. And when he saves and I refresh, I can immediately see it. So it is an excellent tool for co-creation. Once you are done with co-creating, even if you shared reading or writing rights, you are done then and you want your supervisor to sign off on the project. You need to ask the supervisor on the system to sign on your project. You have to declare, sign off your project and submit this for signature to your supervisor. And the supervisor will receive this project in the signature tile, and we have a whole section on the supervisor where he finds or she finds the application for sharing and for signing off. And it's also a step-by-step guide. Then the application will also indicate what happens after submission. And then we have YouTube videos exactly on how to register, how to log in, and how your work area is looking, how to create a project, how to fill in questions, and all those nice sharing and transferring rights. And then we have a supervisor manual to show the supervisor how does it look when an application is shared to them for signature. Now I'm going to log into the live system to just give you an overall feel of how it's looking. Now, because I've already explained this is a cloud-to-cloud based platform, you don't log on with your normal UNISA credentials as you start off with, or that how you log into Oracle, or how you log into the intranet. You need to log into a platform. We have two platforms. We have the application platform and we have the review platform. So in this case, I have bookmarked this this website or this platform, this cloud-to-cloud platform. It's not a website. I've bookmarked it so that I can find it quicker. And because I often use it, it is here as one of the thumbnails. So my login, it logs into a page looking like this. I'm not yet in my cloud-to-cloud platform. This is just my login screen. But you can see that this system is made for UNISA. I've made it a favorite. I can access it. It stands in the tab here, Research Ethics Applications. There is another platform as well, the review platform, that is for the ethics committees. We add all the ethics review members to this platform. When I go to this platform, you'll see there's research ethics review, and I can log in then as a research ethics reviewer. And if I had to review an application, this will be available. If I'm a college administrator, I log in and receive all my applications here. This is just to show you the two screens. So what we sometimes find is that applicants want to access this link and they can't, because we need to give you certain rights to be using this platform. So in many cases, in most of the cases, actually, our rec reviewers are all applicants as well. They are researchers. So we give them rights of applications and ethics review. There are certain user rights that we give. Okay, so for the sake of the demonstration, we're just going to leave it at the research ethics application. There's training for rec reviewers and college administrators. So before I go into my application, and this will be the same for you. If you just click on the link from the manual, it will come to this page. You don't log in yet, maybe you're not registered yet. We have a help function here. We have frequently asked questions. So if you are busy with your application on a weekend, because we all have time on a weekend to maybe do some work, then you can access your frequently asked questions without contacting us. Here you can get some questions answered. What happens if you didn't get your notification and email? You were unable to log in. Why is that? I can't find my supervisor. How can you find your supervisor on the system? I haven't received an email. I want to upload a new attachment. How do I do it? There's some information on data management and what is happening after approval and why is ethics clearance needed for my research. This is interesting ones and they are all available under the help download. What's also available under the help download is your templates. Now the help function, even if you log in now, they are available at any time on this black tab here. So here we have the third-party confidentiality agreement. So sometimes when you have people that's working on your application with you, like transcribers or co-coders, or maybe a biostatistician or a statistician, or field workers, you need them to sign a third-party confidentiality agreement. And you can download it here. And once you download it, you can open it. And once you open it, you can save it on your browser. There's also a template for making use of more than one group of site. Inside the application form, they ask you on which sites are you going to work, how many people, what is the different groups that you're going to use in your population sampling. And we had to do a form to make to provide making use of more than one group or 3 groups. And you can also download this and then you can access the page and you can complete the page by populating the information and then you upload it back in the main application form. And the questions that I ask here is the questions that are inside the main application form. Identify the participants group, what is the site population size, and what's the age group. And then there are also what's the sampling method, sampling size, and justify the sample size. And specify inclusion criteria for each group, exclusion criteria for each group. So this is how this form is looking. The other form that I've downloaded is the third-party agreement. That is also just a form available for you. Let me just show you how it looks. You can also complete it, and the person that's working on the third party can sign it, and you scan it in, and then or they email it to you after they sign it, and then you can upload it on the system. The other forms that we have available is for external students, non-UNISA students. There's a template that the supervisor sign off. This is just to limit that we don't have so many users on the system. This system asks everyone to register. So if you have a supervisor or a co-supervisor, they have to register. So this is for a non-UNISA supervisor. And then also we have the informed consent templates. Now the informed consent templates is generic templates, and I'm going to show them to you. They are also available here. So whenever you want to use anonymous survey, they are available here. Appendix A is the participant information sheet. This is the ideal example of how we want an informed consent to look like. So it includes information that you can then make your own. It's just a guideline document with leading information so that to enable you to do your own. Consent to participate in a study you can use then, for example, for as part of the template. Then there's a template for permission letter. If you are making use of a company or any gatekeeping, you can have a template here that you download to help you guide such a letter. And then there's also Appendix B. This is a cover letter for anonymous survey. So you don't have to, if you have an anonymous survey link that's going to your participants, you don't have to have a informed consent form because you have a cover letter, and by completing a survey, we call this implied consent. By clicking on a survey or stopping at any page, you have some control over your participating in a research project. So normally with a survey, then you fill in this cover page. And then we have also a sample assent form. Assent means in South Africa, we have an act. And in this act, we also have certain requirements. And one of the requirements is that we record any participant under the age of 18 as a minor. And the minor have to provide assent to participate in a study. And then parents and guardians then provide informed consent. So this is then the templates that we have available, and they are available at any time from where you are. So now I want to log into my page. I've already registered and I have a password, unique password, and we explain what password you can set up. I'm going to log into my own application work area. So here on the work area, you can see that there are several things going on. You concentrate on the top part, you'll see this is my work area and there's my help function again. On the far right is my name. If I click on the download menu here you can change your password and you can update your personal details. Now sometimes, and we often use this a lot, we add, in most cases, all the reviewers. If those reviewers then change to applicants or supervisors, they will have to put personal details, which is quite a lot. And you can fill it in here and update it here. So if you have empty fields on a specific field, if it's empty, it will be empty on the database. So when a student selects you, there's going to be a problem. So you need to update your details and you need to understand that all these fields must be filled in, even if you use not applicable. And I'm going to show you why this is. I'm just going to go into one of the tests that I've created for another training. This is your application form. I have already done some of these projects that I'm busy with. Some of them are test projects for training. Some of them are projects I have, for example, withdrawn one, and I have an example one as well. But maybe for the sake of this exercise, let me create a project. I'm going to do it training project. You have to, apologies. you can use 200 characters for your project title. When you start off with a project title, maybe this is not your final project title, and I'll show you, you can come back and change it later. You can select the main application form and then you say create. It takes some time to create, just wait. Now it says that you have created your project successfully, and you will see that this is how your project will look when you open it. There's a few things that's quite interesting that you must note. The action, you have your project 3, and then you have a part here indicating action required on form. This is something that you always can come back to. Even if you submit your form to the ethics committee, your application form will still be accessible to you in your work area. And when you come into your application form, you can see what is the status of your application at any time. Currently, my status is that I have action required on the form. Yes, my form is not submitted, and I have created this form on the 10th, on the 12th of October at 12:40. So when I now scroll down, this is my main application form. You can see that most of the sections are grayed out. The only sections that currently blue, and here is a button on the right, show inactive sections. You can see that my form is very small at the moment. But when I go to start here, I'm going to now say that I'm a postgraduate student at UNISA. This is where you select the capacity in which you can apply for ethics approval. So I've said it in the beginning of the training. If I now or doing or I am currently doing a postgraduate degree, I am a postgraduate student at UNISA. Even if I'm still working here, this is the reason why I'm going to apply for ethics. I want to pass my ethics approval so that I can start with my fieldwork. I indicate I'm a postgraduate student at UNISA. You have to provide your student number. You have to enter the qualification that you are studying for. So it's the one that you're studying currently. So say I'm doing a PhD agriculture, and my number is. And then I have to upload proof of registration for the current year. This is where you upload here. Then you have to indicate your experience relevant to the proposed research. So we don't ask your CV, but we ask that you explain why are you suited to do a PhD in agriculture? Because maybe you have an M in agriculture, which will be a good reason. But if you, for example, don't have an M in a master's degree in agricultural studies, you have to explain exactly why am I doing this? Or if you're doing an MBL, for example, at the School of Business Leadership, you can explain that you received entry because you did your undergraduate degree in this or that. So here you have to explain. Then you have to indicate in which catalytic niche area does your study belong. We hope to upload soon some information on this. This is very important that we indicate the catalytic niche area. Just make sure that you just not click other because it's easy. Try to see if your study is not fitting into any of the ones that's listed. The next question is the study a part of an ongoing study? Now, in some cases, you could have maybe applied phase 1 on a manual form and is now proceeding with phase 2, which is going to be on the online form. Please note, this is not for the amendment that you click in here. If you want an amendment, you'll do it somewhere else as a sub-form. But for now, you only, for example, indicate, yes, I've done this study, or this is an umbrella study, or this was an umbrella study, but I'm going to continue now with this study on my own, not in the group. And then you can link information. You can provide information on the previous study. You can then also upload information on the previous study. What's also important for most colleges is that you do some training in research ethics, especially when you work with human participants. Now you will have to indicate yes or not yet. I've done training or I didn't do training yet. When you say yes, you will have to upload a certificate. If you have, for example, more than one, you can zip your folder and zip your certificates and upload one document. We can't have multiple upload buttons. It makes the system difficult to on the review side as well to look at things. If you have additional training, you're welcome to upload additional ethics training. This first section of the form is very important, and you have to carefully select what you fill in, what you indicate. The rest of the form is all hanging on to whatever you indicate here. One of the things that's extremely crucial is to indicate then which ethics committee will receive this application. Now, this is normally the college where you are studying or doing your research that you're going to apply to. So you can, for example, work in CHS, but you're going to study towards a degree at CEDU, and then you're going to apply at CEDU. If you're doing an MBL, you're going to apply at SBL. If you are doing a study or work in CSET, you can apply at CSET. But you have to look close. And you have to make 100% sure which committee, because we have 44 committees. They are all listed here as how they're going to receive your application. So you will see we have, for example, the Accounting Sciences REC. Then we have the Animal Ethics Committee, IREC. We have the Health Committee, HREC of CHAOS. Then we have CREC, which is the SEMS committee. But SEMS all have their own committees. So if you're studying towards a master's degree in finance, risk and management and banking, you have to select this one, not another one. Unless you receive specific instructions to select SEMS, CREC. The reason for this is all SEMS committees are looking at they're doing the screening and the whole process. So you have to indicate which committee is going to look at your application, and that is the name of the committee that will be on your ethics certificate. The College of Graduate Studies, they don't have students in this college. So, but if you are a researcher doing research, you can select the College of Graduate Studies. College of Education. This is a huge college. We are inviting all the applicants and supervisors. They're going live in 2024. So when you start off with a project and you are studying in the College of Education, this is one college. You are just going to select the College of Education. There's no other subcommittees. So if you're studying towards a degree in the College of Education, you select the College of Education. Then the College of Human Sciences. This is now CHS CREC. CHS CREC have different departments, and we will still listing because they will receive in each of these schools and departments, they will receive your application. So you will also have to select specifically in which department you are studying, because they will review your application, they will screen your application. Eventually, because this is a registered committee at UNISA, meaning NHREC registered committee, it's a health committee, the name of this committee standing on your ethics certificate will be CHS Craig, but you will have to move through your department as it is currently. They also opened for applications in 2024. If you're studying towards a law degree, you will select the College of Law. If you're studying in the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, you will select a specific school in which you are studying. If you're studying towards a MBL, or a DBL, you will select the Graduate School of Business Leadership. If you are not studying at any college, but you are working at UNISA, in one of the non-academic support structures, you apply at the Professional Research Committee. If you are not a student studying at UNISA or working as a researcher or studying as a researcher or working or doing research at UNISA, you're a non-UNISA student or a researcher, you select the UREC. Because we are looking at we expedite review and exempt review from other universities. So why does the non-UNISA students and researchers come to UNISA? Only one reason: they want to do research on the UNISA student, staff and data. So we have a specific policy for research permissions, and that policy stipulates that external students first have to apply for ethics review at UREC before they continue to the Research Permissions Committee. Then, if you go down on this form, you have to indicate the relevant niche area where you, this is just for UNISA researchers and students, which is applicable to your specific line of research. So you can then click next page to go to the next page, which will then be the researcher information. Now here, what is most important, and I've said this before, you need to select yourself. You have already registered on this committee, on this system. So this is my project, so I'm going to look for myself. So you put in your surname or the email address that you have registered with. Now, I can see myself, so I'm double clicking on my name, which doesn't work the first time. I'm trying it again. Double clicking on my name. It's not working again. Let's start over. Just be patient. It's important that you select yourself by double clicking fast. So what it will do then, it will auto-populate all the fields necessary with my information. Now, remember, when I went to my name and I went to personal details, say for example now, because you can't fill in these fields, they are populated from the database. Say for example now, I have not filled in my organization. This will be an empty field on this form and I can't fill it in. How do I rectify this? I click on my name on the top right, click on personal details, open up personal details, fill in the information, change my details, and go back to my form. When you refresh on the left-hand side of the browser, anything that somebody else will do, any change, you can immediately work on this. For interesting sake, remember I showed you that the sections that's open or that you still need to fill in will be blue. If I now click on show inactive sections, you can see that I'm building my form now. It shows more information. I already did start here. I'm already at researcher. Can you see that the supervisor is also blue? This means I can see it from here. Because I am a postgraduate student, I have to fill in my supervisory information. Let me click there. If I go to my supervisor, all postgraduate students at UNISA have a supervisor. If you are a little bit premature with your form and you don't know if you have a supervisor, you have to find out if you have a supervisor and hear who's the supervisor that has been assigned to you. Now, normally when you move to postgraduate studies, you either get assigned a supervisor or you approach the supervisor. So just make sure who's your supervisor. So for the sake of the exercise now, I'm going to contact Achille. I'm going to indicate that Achille is my supervisor, and I will look for Achille by putting in Masala. And I click on Masala here, and it will populate the fields with Masala. So this is Mr. Achille Masala. He will be my supervisor. If I have another supervisor, the fields that we took out, remember I've indicated that we took certain fields out. The fields that I took out, that you can't search in is your work and study address, the city, and the contact number. Please receive this from your supervisor while you're still filling in the form or afterwards or before, and add them in. I can type them in. And the contact number. And if you have a co-supervisor, you do the same. You say co-supervisor, yes. You look for your co-supervisor. In this case, I'm going to look for Tandu Madaka. Double click on her. Too slow. There you go. Too slow. No, not too slow. And it will populate the information. So if you have identified your supervisor, but it's not populating any of the fields, you know then that I need to go and update their personal details. Ask them to update their personal details. Refresh your form or the next day or the day after and look for them again and pick them, select them. When you select them again, it will auto-populate whatever they have filled in their in their information. When you click on Navigate always takes you back to the front page or the cover page. Now you can populate your form with your project information, project summary, funding, gatekeeper mission, conflict of interest. Now, what I want to get to is the type of research. You have to now indicate what type of research are you going to do. Remember, I've indicated in the start that a non-human, non-animal is exclusive. So when I click this, I can't, for example, click secondary and human. I can click human participant, secondary, animal, biomedical, plant research, and GMOs. I can click all of them if I'm doing work in all of them. And they are such researchers at UNISA. Most of you will make use of human participant and secondary data research. So when I click on them, I go to next, and it will open up the first section then on asking a question on my research design. When I navigate back, just to look at the form now that I'm building, if you now show inactive sections, you will see that it starts here. You have your researcher and supervisor information, you have your project information, and now additional sections open up. And this is your form. This is your form. This is the things that you will have to complete. You have human participant sections asking you questions on the research design, population and sampling, data collection instruments, data collection methods, and consent. Built into all of these questions will be numerous things that you will have to explain. If you have an interview, you will have to upload your interview guide. If you have surveys, you will have to upload your questionnaire. If you're going to use communities, you will have to upload certain information in consent. Secondary data analysis, that will ask you if your information is in the public domain, where did you find your information, is all the personal identifiers removed, all of those information will be requested. In all of the research, you will have to do a risk assessment. Risk assessment is then tied up with what kind of research you're going to do, either human participant or secondary data analysis. In the case of this study, I will have to do a risk assessment on both. You have to fill in information on your data management plan. You have to then sign off privacy statement, and you have to do a declaration. Now, this is in short your form. When you are done with your form, you sign off on the declaration. So I haven't now filled in a lot of information, as you know, but say I'm doing a qualitative study. In this area, you also have to indicate if you're doing any health-related research. Reason for this is that the committee, that you can decide what is your risk related to this. If you say yes, you will have to indicate what kind of health study. In this case, I'm going to say no. There's an additional question here. Does your study include educational studies and teacher educational research? The reason for this is this was a exclusive field in the ethics education research application form, which we took out. So if you say yes, you have to indicate what your research approach, and then you continue with the rest of the questions. So this is the form. Now I want to show you what happens now if I click on completeness check. When I click on completeness check, and you know I didn't fill in this form at all, you will see that there's lots of questions. For example, the supervisor city contact number, what is my start date, where's your proposal, it's asking. Has your proposal been reviewed? Is the project funded? Does your study involve gatekeeping? So you can see that literally all the questions that I have not filled in is listed here. This will also happen to you. So eventually you will get to a place where the only thing that I will ask you is your supervisor signature. This is what you want. This is hyperlinks. So if you start off with your project, you can fill this in as you get to it. You can have a feel of the form, finalize your first initial work, come back to the form and build the form. This is the reason why this is here. This is your friend, it's not your foe. Don't see it as a foe. You won't be able to submit if you indicated that you are a postgraduate student. You will have to sign off your form and ask your supervisor to sign off the form. You request the signature of your supervisor by clicking on request. You won't be able to do it if your form is not completed. So this also assists the supervisor and the ethics review committee that we receive complete forms. Just for the supervisors in the room, if you go back to your black work area, we have now done a project which we created now. So for example, I just want to do a test project. I can do it and I can delete it here. When I click delete project, it can ask me which project do I want to delete, and then I can choose. I can also duplicate the project. This week, I successfully duplicated the project for a student because she by mistake withdrawn a project and there's no way that you can get it back. So I duplicated the project, everything was back. If you start off with a project, you can transfer a project and you have to indicate who are you going to transfer to. Please note that you can only transfer to someone that is registered on the system. Now, on the work area, you have different tiles. You have the work area in your projects, but you also have signatures, transfers, and shared. So if you share a project to another collaborator or a co-researcher, when that person receives the project, it will be in the share folder. It looks like this. This project was shared with me. I can view it, I can reject it. There's certain access rights that I can see. I can read, write, share, create all subforms or receive notifications. Supervisor, if you have requested your supervisor to sign off, supervisors will receive their applications here. You can view the form here. If it says invalidated, it means that the application they removed the signatures, they revoked it, they took it back, they cancel it, or they withdrawn it. So sometimes an applicant can also ask unlock if they realize they made a mistake, and it will show invalidated. If it shows requested, it means that you were asked for a signature and you viewed a form. Now, supervisors will see then that the form has been locked through signatures because the postgraduate student has signed off on the form, and you have certain actions on your left. You can also unlock the form, meaning you can invalidate the signatures. Sometimes the student will approach you and say, please unlock my form, I'll resubmit it. Or if you see that there's still information missing, you can use the bubbles to communicate to your student or to your, but this information will not be available for the review panel. What stays between you and the student on this point in time will only be on the application side of things. So, and then you can review it, and you can also look at the documents. All the documents that, for example, will be added will be seen here. So this is more or less the view that a supervisor will have. So if you want to co-create with your student, ask your student first to share the project with you. When you are done, the student can send it to you for sign off so that you can sign it off in the signature tile. And you will see now that when I go to the application, I can sign it off. I click on signatures and I can sign it off. It will provide, sorry, this is just a summary. I mean, I have to click on sign. I can sign this off by putting in my username. What is my username? My username is my email address with which I've registered, and this is my password. Now, luckily, I've asked the system to copy my password or save it because I don't know it, and then I sign. Now, it gives me this page where we often get it because I never sign off on applications. This is a problem. I will have to retype my email address and my password very carefully. And I can't show you now because I don't have my password with me. I'm relying on the system to remember my password. In this case, I won't be able to sign off. This is now what you do when you receive a signature. And this is in short also the research ethics application form. And if you have any more questions, you can use our applicant manual, which is looking like this. And it explains to you every step of any question that you might have. What you need to do before you start, how to register and log in, what to expect from the activation email that you will receive, how to get back to your page, how to log in, what is your work area about, how do you create the project, where do you change your information, how you create it, how your page is looking, your structure of your main application form. It explains also in the small bubbles what is meant by certain words. How do you select yourself as a researcher and a supervisor? How you add yourself, how you add collaborators. Collaborators are people that is co-researchers on a study, and you need their names to also be on the ethics certificate. Where you select your committee, how you upload documents, how you delete documents, where you select your type of application, how your completeness check is working, how you can transfer a project to another collaborator or a person that's registered. How do you share a project? What rights you give, what access rights do you give to the person that you share? And be careful here. How you delete a project? How do you sign your declaration page and your application form? How do you request a signature from your supervisor? How do your supervisor receive the request on the email? Click on the signature tile and access the interface. How your supervisor can add a comment for you. He can edit the comment and he can sign off. Very important. Please don't forget that after your supervisor sign off on the project, you need to submit the project. Nobody else is going to submit it. You need to submit it. The submit action is on the left-hand side, submit. You click on it. We have a short slide on what's happening after submission. So after you submit to the ethics committee, there will be a screening phase from your college administrator. They could request a change request. Maybe you've missed a crucial question or didn't upload the document. You can resubmit and it can move to under review. If you are receiving a change request, this is how it will look. Comments will be available for you in a comment section. So it's also with hyperlinks. So if there's comments, you can click on the comment and it will go there. This is a screenshot of how a comment looks. So anything that you get back after the ethics review process will be available in this format. Your application will never go away. It will always be in your workplace interface, your work area interface. But remember that you must look at the status of the application. If you, for example, receive a change request, it will say, yes, you need action. You received a change request on that and that date. It will say, no, it's under review. Then you wait for your information. Your outcome will be communicated to you. When you have an approval certificate, you'll receive an email. Your supervisor will be copied in that email. We have, as I explained already, YouTube links and to show you how to register, how to log in, how to create a project, how to fill in questions. The supervisor have a small video, and there's also a video on how do you refer back and do changes. And that is, in short, the presentation on how the application is looking.